Hey y'all, it's Elisha and welcome back to Elisha's Crafty Hoplop and to our first ever fall collab, y'all. A big thank you to Brian of B&Dcrafts, my co-host for this collab. Hey Brian. And a big thank you to all of our contributors and collaborators who came on board to bring us their craftiness. I'm super excited to see what everybody created. We made this 2-week collab because, y'all, we do so much Halloween crafting and so much holiday crafting, and we love fall colors and fall crafting, but we don't see many collabs. And so Brian and I put our heads together and thought, okay, let's do a 2-week collab and let's take a look at what this might be. Now, I changed my project for this week. Y'all saw me haul the little wooden trucks from the Hobby Lobby. You saw me haul the ribbon and the tool, and I'm going to feature what was going to be my first week project for next week, the finale. I changed my project, y'all, after the Craft Live last week. If you subscribe to my channel, then you know we had a discussion about whether or not, are people buying Christmas collections this year, or are they using up their stash? And a lot of folks are feeling the financial strain of COVID, y'all. We all know PPE, when we could find it, was very expensive. Lots of folks were laid off. People had to move for work. It's just been a rougher financial year. And so a lot of my subscribers articulated that they're struggling to buy craft supplies, y'all. So I wanted to do something for this week that showcased how you could do a craft project without either spending very much money or no money and using up your stash, and not necessarily things that were intended for fall. I see that a lot on UK collabs because UK, Australia, Singapore, all over the world, y'all, they don't have access to what we have access to in North America. And often, if you watch a Crafty Michelle project, especially for Halloween, she makes magic out of items that have nothing to do with Halloween. So I changed my project because I wanted to show you what could be done. So I did have a paper pad left over from last year. Those of you who've subscribed to me for a while know I hauled this and I used it to make a book as a gift for someone. But because there weren't any fall craft collabs, I had paper left over, y'all. So I will show you though, the back sides are very much like Tim Holtz or mixed media. The truth is, y'all, you could create this yourself. So even if you didn't have an autumn paper pad, like I have this in my stash, you wouldn't need it. You either could use anything you have in your stash that looks like this, that has autumn colors, or y'all, white cardstock and some paint, right? Some dry brushing and a brayer or a sponge, and you'd be able to create this yourself. So I want to show you that. I happen to have this in my stash, so I was going to use it, but I want to show you you don't need to have any autumn paper at all. All right, the next thing is, if you were on my Craft Live, then you know I bought a $1 stencil at the Dollar Tree, and it had a fox, an owl, a bear, and a little bit of foliage. And I tested it on the live, and I was shocked at how cleanly the stencil produced. And I put that aside and I said to y'all, it's gonna show up in the collab. Well, y'all, it did. I made a pack of ephemera with it actually, which I'll share with you after my project share. I used it, y'all, to make this tag. There is the fox. That is the stencil I used, bought for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Again, it wasn't themed for fall. I just used it that way. And on this particular one, I made a pack of ephemera for someone. I'm going to share it with you after. On some of these, I watercolored them. On some of them, I used the Wendy Vecchi blendable inks to create them and then use stickles afterwards. That's how I get the nice combination of brown and red and orange and yellow. On some of them, I just used distress inks. I'll share with you in a second. But basically, I created a pack of ephemera just using cardstock and my supplies. And I propped him up. Obviously, he's dimensional. And there's a tag made. I cut out some chipboard. I did use a page of my pad, but again, you could just take white cardstock and use paint to create it. Behind this is that $1 tool from the Dollar Tree. So if you wanted to, you could make a $1 investment in a fall supply, or y'all, it would have been cute without it too, because I tested it both ways, and it didn't matter whether you used the tool or you didn't use the tool. I'm not a big gemmy person, as y'all know, so I like the little bit of glimmer, but you could have done this without the tool and saved yourself the $1. These stickers are not autumn stickers, y'all. No, they're from my stash. They're Dollar Tree stickers from ages ago, and I just used them. And these little florals that match perfectly are actually a pack of recollection flowers I had in my stash. Not at all, again, related to autumn crafting. Not at all. Now, the pumpkins are cut apart from two different places, but I did color them, y'all. I did. So one was cut apart from a packaging pad of packaging I had, and I got that idea from Pat Sweeney. Pat tells me she often cuts out from magazines, from journals, to create all different pieces of ephemera. I cut that out from some packaging, from something I'd recently purchased. I added it onto thicker cardstock. I distressed, inked, and shaded it. This was a different cut apart. I did the same thing. I stickled up the stems, and the third pumpkin behind was done the same way, y'all. All cut from things that are like completely unrelated. Again, like packaging, you could have used magazines, you could have used a flyer. I just attached it to cardboard. And y'all, the sentiment which says thankful for you did actually exist in the paper pad that I had, but it existed in many of my paper pads. So you just have to go through and find it and clip it out, and I just attached that to chipboard. So this is that rose gold trim that I hauled at the Hobby Lobby, y'all. And I did have some eyelets in my stash from We Are Memory Keepers, and I had the perfect color, so I used that. But y'all, again, I made the ephemera. I cut this out from the paper pad, but again, I could have cut it out from many of my paper pads. So take a look through your paper pads for sentiments. These I cut apart from packaging and advertising, and then I colored them and inked them and propped them up on chipboard and on thicker cardstock. This was from my stash, and then the tool and some dollar store stickers, y'all. And that is how you make a tag without having any supplies, y'all. And again, you didn't need to even spend the dollar on the tool. So for those of you looking to make fall crafts, but you don't want to spend any money on them, you can use your supplies, y'all. Or you can take white cardstock and create it yourself, which is amazing. Let me show you what I created using white cardstock. So, you know, I'm making a Happy Meal for Tiffany, the domestic fox, for her birthday. So after I saw this work so well, I was like, this is her signature. So I thought, well, why don't I make her a pack of ephemera, handmade ephemera? So there's a little brown one, and I stickled him up, but you can see he's more brown. He shaded browns and bronze and a tiny bit of metallic. There he is there. This is a watercolored one with oranges and yellows. Oh, I have to do a bit more. My fussy cutting, y'all, is still a little rough. I gotta get a little deeper in there. But there's the watercolor one. This is an inked one with different browns and bronze and the little crest on his nose. This is another watercolored one where I did this with watercolors. This one I heat embossed, y'all, using my fancy embossing. Oh my goodness, y'all, I need to work on my heat embossing because I color blended and I didn't do the perfect job. I did well here and here, but look, y'all, on the tail I could have done better. But that is heat embossed. Everything is heat embossed, and that's why, see how beautifully he pops, the white and everything. And then this is another brown one, again in bronze. And then last but not least is a lighter tan one. So you see, y'all, I made these using watercolors and inks and cardstock, and I made the whole pack of ephemera myself. So we can create these things out of white cardstock without having to spend any money at all. And that, y'all, is my project for week 1 of our fall collab. Again, I'm listing everyone down below. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. And we will see you all next week for our finale. A big thank you again to Brian and to all of our participators, and to each of you for watching. Happy fall, y'all. Happy fall.